I was going to make a video about why agents shouldn't do cold calling, but instead, I thought I'd make a video about wire fraud since yesterday and even today. It's spilling over to until today, up to the point that I'm recording this video. In fact, I was just working on this before I hit record, that we have thwarted a fraudster, a scammer, a wankster that is impersonating a real estate agent trying to intercept commission in the form of wire instructions that are fraudulent. And I'll explain exactly how they're doing it, how we thwarted it, how it could happen to you, and how you can prevent it. Because I used to own an escrow company. I've dealt with wire fraud before. I'm also very paranoid about wire fraud, so I have protective measures in place. I'll share with you what those are. But this is to show you how easily it can happen, how prevalent it still is, because it's happening now. Now, yesterday, escrow called me to confirm wire instructions. And the second they said the bank name, I said, stop right there. Where did you get these? Now, take a look at this. These wire instructions are fraudulent. These are not my wire instructions. These are made up by a fraudster. And what a fraudster did is they took my logo, my office address here, wiring instructions. They put their bank. Now, these fraudsters use a legitimate U.S. bank, okay? And then they put, I don't know what this is. This might be because, so sometimes they'll bundle, this could be the legitimate name of their account, but they'll add this here so that the wiring institution, escrow in this case, sees and thinks that it's part of this and that this is all normal. They're trying to legitimize their scammer name with the actual intended recipient's name, okay? They also put the agent's name down here. They put the property of the home sale here. Okay, then they added this random commission wire fee to look more legitimate. They had the escrow number because they have access to the agent's inbox. So they know the escrow number. They know all escrow's information. They know the transaction information. They put my office ID here, my DRE number. They put the agent, and there's some phony signature that doesn't match my name or the agent's name, but they have the agent's DRE license. So they're trying to legitimize these phony wire instructions, but these are totally fabricated by some scammer. Now, how does this happen? Well, it's real simple. These scammers, they infiltrate the inbox of home sellers or real estate agents. They did in this case. It can happen to anyone. It can happen easily. And this is how they do it. Oh, I should mention, this scammer, so once we thwarted their attempted interception of commission yesterday, they sent multiple emails to escrow. And this is one of them. I think this was one last desperate last-ditch attempt. They have some made-up number that doesn't correspond to the CDA or the commission instructions. So they have some random number here. And then they put a phone number with an LA area code saying, hey, do you want to confirm wire instructions? I sent them. I'll reattach them. Here, I reattached it again. You can call the accounting to verify. Sometimes you see odd grammar, which leads you to believe that these people, maybe English isn't their first language. I've seen multiple cases of wire fraud, and a lot of times one of the many clues is odd grammar that just doesn't sound right. Okay, but in this case, so you have an LA number. Now this is why you should never, ever verify wire instructions with a phone number in the email, because if the email is compromised, the phone number is too. But I'll tell you how you can avoid this at the very end of this. So they send this, escrow's forwarding me, look, they're still trying. Now here's how creepy and how easily it can happen, all right? And this is similar to what happened. I've seen this happen with sellers, home sellers, where these fraudsters are trying to get the seller's proceeds. They're trying to steal someone's life savings being wired from escrow. That's how despicable these people are, okay? So what they do is you have a real estate agent, Jane Johnson, okay? This is Jane's email, janesellshomes@gmail.com. How many agents do we know that have emails like this? I mean, it's just ubiquitous in the industry that someone's like, Dream Homes by Jane, or sell a home with Jane, or sold by Jane. I mean, you see it all like this. Now, this is Jane Johnson's legitimate email, right? Here's what the fraudster does. They fish, fish, to infiltrate the inbox of real estate agents. Now, it's probably much easier to infiltrate an agent's inbox than it is a home seller, because agents, if you're a fraudster, if you're a scammer, you can go on some website and see a whole roster of agents, and you can see their email addresses. and you can just send phishing emails to try to get access. You can send them some security alert or whatever and try to trick the agent into giving you access, right? And some of these phishing emails are very good. They're very clever, right? And here's what the fraudster does. They create their own Gmail and they put their name as Jane Johnson and they put janesellhomes@gmail.com. Notice the difference. The only difference is they got rid of that S. It's almost identical, except they removed one S. And that's what happened yesterday. Actually, they added an S. And I've also seen it where they've impersonated sellers where, I guess for agents too, but in the case of a seller, I saw one case where they added a 1 at the end of it. So they would take this exact same email address and put a number 1 after it. Now, if you're escrow or if you're a transaction coordinator or you're just a busy agent and you get an email from Jane Johnson, it says Jane Johnson in your inbox and you see this email address, but it's not this, it's this. Look at these. Do you really notice that one character difference? No person is going to notice that. No one is going to notice that that one character is missing or has been added. Your eyes, that's just not how your eyes are going to dart to it. That all checks out. You're not going to notice that one thing. They could sneak a 1 in there. They sneak one little digit. That's it. One character. And that's what happened. All right. And so now when this person sees that they get an email from, Amy Escrow Officer, they don't respond from Jane's actual inbox. They respond from the phony inbox or the phony email address impersonating Jane Johnson. And then they send phony wire instructions like this. And they'll say things like, "Great job, team. Good job, everyone. Thank you for all your efforts. Glad we got this closed." They will impersonate, they will impersonate the agent. And that's what was happening yesterday. And even today on another closing with that same agent. So, luckily we thwart this stuff. And like I said, I'm a freak about security because when escrow told me that, I had asked her when she said these are the wire instructions, I said, "How did you receive these? Did you receive these through SentrySend? That's our secure file sharing platform." And she said, "No, it was email." I said, "Forward me the email." And that's how I saw this. And she was forwarding me all the emails from the scammer. Let me tell you how to easily avoid this, okay? Simple stuff. Change your email password regularly. I can't emphasize this enough. Your inbox can be compromised. You may not know about it, but if you're changing your password every 2 weeks, once a month, you're greatly diminishing the possibility of a fraudster intercepting an email of an escrow or a transaction you have going on and impersonating you. This goes for home sellers. You may even want to tell your seller clients, listen, if you don't change your email password regularly, please do it now. Maybe do it now at the beginning and the middle of the transaction. It's just smart, people. Enable two-factor authorization. On my email address, if someone logs in, I get a text message and I have to verify. So I know if someone's using my email, that I'll get a text message. You can use an authenticator app too, which they're a bit cumbersome, but they're good for security. So one of those two things for two-factor authorization, send securely. Yes, I know there's a typo here. I just typed this up very quickly. So we use SentrySend.com as a secure platform that requires the recipient to authenticate their identity in order to access. That means a fraudster can't just intercept wire instructions or send wire instructions on your behalf. When I told escrow, or when I asked escrow, did you receive these wire instructions through SentrySend? She said, no. I immediately knew it was fraud. And I said, please forward it to me. We would never send wire instructions like that through email, non-encrypted and non-secure. So use a secure file sharing platform. If you do, call separately, but never ever use the phone number in the email inbox. Instead, Google the company name, the escrow name, the agent's brokerage. Let Google take you to the website of the institution and then call that number. If the email inbox or if the email is compromised, the phone number within the email is compromised. Verifying anything you received in email with the phone number in the email is absolutely pointless. It does nothing. It's all compromised. If the email is compromised, everything in it is compromised. As you saw, this fraudster posing as an agent, put a a local phone number in here to verify. All right? It's all fraud. Notarize. Notarize wire instructions if you use them. Any escrow company, any settlement company should have a seller notarize wire instructions if they're going to send the seller's proceeds through wire. So I've sold properties out of state, and I'm actually super uptight about this stuff because of what I've seen over the years. So I'll say, just send me a check it's in person. So in person, I'll say, if I can pick up the check, if I can pick up the proceeds, great, I'll do it. Or if you want, you can pick up a commission check. That, of course, is not very convenient. So have notarized wire instructions. And I tell them, any wire instructions that you receive from me must be notarized. So keep that in mind. If you're receiving non-notarized wire instructions, because a notary will come out and they're going to look at your identification, take a thumbprint, verify your identity, and then they're going to notarize your wire instructions. And then they should call and still verify those notarized wire instructions. So any wire instructions I send are notarized to begin with. So that you could tell someone right away, if wire instructions aren't notarized by me, they're fraudulent. But even then, you should verify. Okay? In person too. You can deliver an EMD to escrow with a personal check. And a seller can pick up proceeds in person from escrow. It doesn't always have to be wired. Now, I know wiring is more common, but I'm just throwing it out there that if you're super paranoid or there's been wire fraud in a transaction, this is the absolute safest thing to do, is in person. And if not, you notarize and you call separately of email to verify wire instructions. So that's just kind of in a nutshell. I could talk ad nauseum about fraud prevention because I've just seen it so much over the years. I've dealt with so many different types of fraud prevention, and I'm closing hundreds of transactions a year that require CDAs and signed commission instructions. And so I have to be very careful, but I'm just telling you that you have a few measures in place and you've eliminated 99% of the probability of being infiltrated by a fraudster and scammed. So just giving you a heads up so that you avoid the same thing, because it's out there, it's happening. It happened to me yesterday and it's happening today, where we have someone that's got in on 2 different closings and tried to pose as an agent to collect commission. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you.